This is some of the biggest destruction in the center of town caused by the direct airstrike attack. Very large one. You can see they are targeting really in the middle of the residential building intentionally. That definitely qualifies for the war crime. Similar scale of devastations I also seen in the town of Borodyanka. If you are not afraid, you can see that video to understand the scale of this.
Let me introduce the mayor of Mr. Chernihiv, Vladislava Trushenko.
We are located here where a Russian pilot who has been a war criminal and he was captured later dropped 6 bombs onto civilian infrastructural facilities. What you see here is yet another evidence that we can safely call the Russian army a terrorist organization. Russia is a terrorist country. The reason is this bombing took place in the middle of the day. It was at about 1:15 p.m. People saw that aircraft flying at a very low altitude, something like 300, 400, 500 meters the maximum, and there was no one cloud in the sky. The sun was shining brightly. There were 49 people who died here at the same time. The pilot clearly saw that this is a residential complex, residential blocks. There are no military installations and there have never been any military installations. The closest military installations are maybe 10 kilometers from here. There were no barracks, nothing military, just residential quarters. On the total, over all this time, we have 700 people who died in Chernihiv, who were killed, and also 40 people who have been missing.
After the story, city mayor just told that he arrived on this very place in the center of Chernihiv 15 minutes after the attack, and he seen those cars. You might be thinking that they were like burning here for some time. However, no, he confirmed they were already at this very condition. So simply like the heat here was so strong that turned them into dust almost. What about people? Many people disappeared, simply evaporated in this hell.
There was a case when a man was waiting for his wife. She had the end of her duty shift in that cardiac hospital, and he called her on the phone and he was waiting for her, and he told her, "I am waiting for you at the entrance of this cardiac hospital." And she was delayed for 1 minute, and that's why she survived, because she remained in that cardiology ward for a minute. She never saw her husband anymore because he was just burned. He evaporated at that moment, and there are 40 people like him, people who just evaporated, and we don't see them among those who are alive, nor among the dead bodies. They just disappeared.
This building, which we can say serves as the wall, received also the heat and the blast wave, and just check it. None of the buildings have the glass. Yes, many balconies are simply destroyed and many windows are simply open still. Oh wow. In some of them people still even live. Some journalists are going like really far to capture the picture. You can see one of them really went all the way up inside the building. Oh wow. How can you comment the fact that the person went inside the building? Like, is it like according to the journalism ethic to go like really that far to capture the picture?
Well, if it's safe, I mean, then it's okay. But I mean, this building doesn't look very safe to me. But they're of course taking a risk. And the thing is, here you have, when you go to with a press pool, you have so many journalists, and 90% are providing same images. So there's always someone who is trying to get a different image and from different angles. So and it's a bit adventurous to go inside that building, I would say so. But I mean, it's as long as we have authorities here, if they don't forbid him to go there. But otherwise, there can be other places, other countries where you can have mines, or it's about in danger of collapsing the building. So I really can't. I really can't condemn him.
Okay. So from journalism professional standpoint, in order to deliver the most pure picture, that's okay. But unless it's safe.
Yeah, as long as it's safe for everybody around, as safe for the building, and that you don't. Very important is that you don't tamper any evidence that is hinting, let's say, about war crimes. Of course, in this building it's not the case, but if, as a journalist, if you arrive as a first person to a mass grave, you should keep out and not going there, because then you are tampering the possible criminal evidence. That's why it's very important that the authorities come first there, and then they put the yellow tape around the mass grave so that people will not walk on the mass grave anymore.
In the meantime, while most of the shops are still closed in the city, there is a volunteer center being in active operation. So this is the place where people can come, they can take food, they can take some other humanitarian needs that they require for simple maintenance of their lives. So you can see people, they just got some packages that they'll be able to use with their families back at home. And that's help what is really needed. The main storage, many things, people can use them, and obviously these are the different packages that each city resident can take. Each member gets like different cereal, sweets, pasta. People can take pickles. This is actually a very traditional Ukrainian way. For centuries, Ukrainians were pickling everything possible in order to sustain cold winters here. Humanitarian aid is working pretty effectively, so people have some basic needs to sustain their lives. However, there are still some materials that are really required. So as leaders of this movement just told, what they need first of all, different types of medicine, also different construction materials in order to rebuild the houses, the apartments of people that they built, and they are open for any type of cooperation with different building companies from all around the world to help them restore the houses of people that have been destroyed. City center of Chernihiv has been targeted too. This used to be the hotel, and you can see what is turned down into. As you can see, Chernihiv used to be a nice town of middle size of Ukraine. It starts to be more lively on the street. However, all the shops, all the businesses, guys, are still completely closed. Pharmacy is closed. There was actually the shop for electronics, and let's hope that this window was erupted because of the blast just opposite from there, and not being the place for looters. I just met a local people and asked them, like, is there a place simply to buy a coffee? They told they don't know. If you want, you can start to search. So this tells us the reality. If the locals didn't know any working facility just, to pour coffee or tea, that's very disappointing, obviously. What else can I say? For over the week, Russian troops retreated, and obviously more and more people will be coming back to Chernihiv to restore many things and to bring back life to this very nice place, actually, as you can see. While walking on the streets, I see some advertisement to the local theater, and look, March 15, Arsen Myrozan, our Ukrainian famous singer. Obviously, all of these shows had to be cancelled. Cancelled the same as the plans of people living here had to be cancelled. Just like this, overnight. We just found the first shop which is open. Kulekivki Kubasa. Actually, Kulekiv, this is a small town near Lviv. Yeah, so they are selling some sausages inside, which is a good news. And next to it, there's a Blessed Coffee, but it is closed, guys. Take a look, guys, on those timber houses, yes? Here, there, this is the typical North Ukrainian architecture, because it tells us there are a lot of forests inside. This is part of Polisia. And also what I'm surprised with is how maintained the city used to be. Yeah, there are some bike lanes here. And in general, like if you travel around, you can see it's used to be nice and tidy before the war. Stop for a second and appreciate how well maintained the Chernihiv used to be and is still actually now, even during the war. So these are the places for parking, obviously, as you can see, but that's unusual for Ukraine. Usually parking is messy in our country. However, here in Chernihiv you can see that it's really well maintained. The pavement is done well. The ATM is not working, unfortunately. However, these places that have not been ruined are still looking kind of okayish. Of course, there is most important thing missing: people. But as soon as the local population arrive back, the life will flourish here again. Important thing: Chernihiv is one of the most ancient Ukrainian towns, dating back to Middle Ages, of the times of Kievan Rus, which used to be the early East Slavic state. Kiev was the capital, as you might know from my previous educational lectures online. However, Chernihiv was also a very important place and the main city of its own Chernihiv kingdom. Modern nations of Ukraine, Belarus and Russia trace back to Kievan kingdom. One of the justifications of Russian invasion to Ukraine nowadays is reclaiming their historical lands. So there is a question: if you consider those lands yours, which are not obviously Russian, why the heck would you destroy these cities? Nobody is destroying something that belongs to them. And the result of this devastation, that what we see around, is nothing else as the pure anger and will to destroy Ukrainian culture. Some of the most precious architectural masterpieces in Chernihiv and from the entire Ukraine is this amazing ensemble of historical churches dating back to different historical periods. For example, this goes back all the way to the 12th century, 17th century, and also the more recent times another church. Thanks God they remained untouched. You see, it's written Пам'ятка архітектури, which means memory of architecture, going back to the 17th century. This is a typical Byzantium style back from Kievska Rus, and I see that some people are going inside that church. Let's see what is inside. That was encouraging, the fact that the church is operating, that they are conducting the religious mass is also very important, because people get inspiration, they get hope, and in such circumstances the hope is what we really need. But we also need, guys, your support, and it's really amazing how the entire world is united around Ukraine, how they help us in all the different directions. So if you would like to support my team also directly in this activity what we are doing, please consider doing so. Just follow the link below, and there are a few recommendations how you can do this. please also note that there are bike lanes in Chernihiv, and yeah, it gives people the nice comfortable way to move around. What's also important to tell is I've seen a lot of bike lanes all around the town, which shows us that they have been doing a lot of improvements in terms of mobility, and this is the sign of a modern progressive city, which definitely didn't expect of this dark time in this modern period. There are even some tourist signs, directions, which way to go. You see, so the city was doing pretty well before it all happened. It starts raining, guys, but there are good news. I have found a lucky coffee shop. So Rauli will be happy, and let's get this nice treatment for the end of the day for us. Most ATMs didn't work, but they accept even card payments here. And thank you very much, and good luck.
Thank you.
Alright, that was very inspiring moment. The girl in the coffee shop just told me that they opened today. Can you believe it? It's their first day since over a month. And I think this is also symbolical. I wish to everybody in Chernihiv peace, to come back, to restore the city faster. I wish all the best to our country, Ukraine, and I'm super grateful that you are following our journey, our fight for independence and for the peace not only of Ukraine but for the entire world. Good luck, guys, and see you in other upcoming videos. Stay safe.